Hi guys, so welcome back to the channel. Making good progress on the van so far. All the windows are in, we're cracking on with the electrical stuff. But on that subject, we want to start getting our solar panels installed on the roof. Now we've got 7 of them in total, 700 watts. I'm not buying a roof rack because I want to fabricate this one myself. So I'll show you what we're going to do. So we've got these aluminium angles. We've got a couple of T-pieces which will go down the middle of the van, and then either side we've got these L-shaped angle pieces. Quite lightweight. The whole lot in total only weighs about 15 kilos, so it's not too bad. They're about 3.5 meters long, the longest ones. So once we've got these up on the roof, we can then start measuring out the brackets, get the brackets made up, get those installed, put the whole lot together, and then we can get the solar on the roof and start connecting that up as well. So let's crack on. So we just got to prep all of these, give them a good clean, degrease them, start spraying them. We've got some etch primer to go on first, and then we've got some white. So yeah, I did say white. So we want them white. We want them to blend in with the side of the van. We don't want big black bars going across the top of the van. They're going to be low profile. You're not going to see much of them anyway. So yeah, I think it just look a bit better. We've got the same colour white as the van, which is polar white, I think it is. So we'll see what they look like. If they don't look right, we'll go over it with some black, you know. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Anyway, first job, degrease, then prime, then paint, and then we'll start cutting and putting it all together, and we'll see what it looks like. So the metal itself, we got that from a company called Metals for You. It comes to about £220 for all of the aluminium. I have bought some brackets on top as well to help fabricate it all and put it together. The metal itself is 38mm wide and only 3.2mm thick, but it's quite sturdy. It should be sturdy enough to take the solar panels. It's the right depth for the solar panels. It's actually the same depth as those, so they won't stick up above it, so they'll be nicely protected all the way along. Yeah, it's going to be good fun making these. I used to do some metal work back in the day as an apprentice, so this will take me back a bit. Looking forward to this one. And only 15 kilos in weight, so by the time we get it all together, should be able to lift the whole thing by ourselves. Right, so what we're going to be using, first of all, is an etch primer. This is just a cheap one from Halfords. Excellent addition to metallic surfaces, such as aluminium and galvanised steel. So this should do nicely. Get a good coat of this on first, then we'll go over with the white.
Don't get it on the camera.
Oh, well.
What's that? That's how I've done it.
So, as you can see, Kelly's been busy painting these. We've got some unistrut, which will be going along the front to back. And we've got this a couple of T sections, we've got some L-shaped sections, so we're going to be bolting all of this together, getting it cut to size, bolted together, and hopefully we'll get that on the van. So what I'm using to cut the aluminium with is the power saw, and I've got an 80 tooth saw on there. It cuts all thin metal and wood, so it's multi-use. Gives a good finish on the wood and also on the aluminium. So I'll put a link in the description below for that.
speak.
That's the first corner done. 3 more to go, and then we've got our basic outline, and then we can do the insides for the supports for the panels. So let's crack on. So what I'm going to be using to join the corners together is some of these 90-degree plates, these little joining plates. I'm going to be using some M5 bolts with some washers, some split washers, and some nylon nuts, just to keep the whole thing together. And yeah, that should hold it all together, hopefully. So let's crack on. Right, so what we need to do, take the plate. As you can see, the 4 holes here all line up with these 4. So we need to line that up with that. But of course we need to find out the distance of here so that we know how far in to the roof rack that's got to sit. So just using a depth gauge, you can see the join in the middle of this hole here, so that's how we know it's in the centre. And that's 16 mil. So we've got to go 16 millimeters in. From the inside edge of the angle, aluminium, that's where this has got to sit. And then that will make sure that when we put the solar panel inside the roof rack, the brackets, that will the whole bolt heads will fit inside here, if that makes sense. You have the bolt head sticking out at the bottom there, just a bit more aesthetically pleasing. And hopefully these line up nicely. Okay, and there we go. One corner done. Right, hopefully that it's all still square. Look at that. Lovely. Time to see if it fits. Hopefully these the nuts and the ends of the bolts will fit in the prefabricated holes. Go. So that is just okay. They don't quite line up. We may have to just. I think the holes are smaller on this than the nuts. So we may just have to open those holes slightly with a file, and then that should just slot in. Okay, so this actually fits. You can see the angle is the same height as the top of the solar panel, so it's all nice and flush. It sits in quite nicely. Nice corner as well. All I did was just elongated the holes on the bottom of the get underneath here. There we go. You can see that. So they just sit inside these prefabricated holes. All I had to do was just elongate the holes that have been made in the solar panel, just to fit through the fit the nuts through, because they didn't quite line up. There's a couple of millimeters out, but that fits in there nicely. That'll be secured separately once the rack is on the ceiling, on the roof rather, and that all looks pretty good. So these are sprayed as well, just to blend in with the white roof rack. You can see the holes underneath. We just had to elongate one of these, or two of these, just to allow the nut to go through. But that sits in there nicely. Happy with that? To explain really. Right guys, so making progress slowly. We've got the roof racks done. There we go, all nicely painted in white. We have had them on the roof just to see how it all looks. It actually doesn't look too bad. A couple of touch up here and there, from it's got a bit scratched, but we'll do that later on. So that's done. We've also done the unistruts. We've put those up there, we've cut these to size, we've painted them, they're ready to go up. Now what we do have is we put some of these hard rubber mounts. I'll get it out of the bag. There we go. Some of these off of Amazon. These are 40mm high, 40mm wide. They've got an M8 bolt hole through the middle, and that's because the factory fitted roof mount points on the Transit are also 8mm. So the bolt will go through these and into the roof, into the mounting points. Now, what we've done is we've cut one of these in half to make them down to about 20mm, and then that's the right height for us to allow the widthways parts of the roof rack to miss the top curvature of the roof, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean later on. Anyway, first job to do is to get these Sikaflex to the roof mount points, and then we can get the unistruts on, then the roof rack on, and then the solar panels on, and then get everything wired up, connected, and then that's done. Okay, so this is one of the roof mounting points. As you can see, I'll just zoom in there. You've got this factory fitted bung just to keep the water out, and underneath there is a M8 threaded bolt. And that's where we're going to be mounting the unistruts onto. So we've got to take this off first. Just going to use a pick. I'm literally just going to pick around the outside of it. Try not to damage the paintwork of the actual van, but they have painted over these, so you've just got to break through the paintwork. and they're quite pliable. You can use a heat gun as well if you want to, just to loosen it up a little bit with the glue and the paint. But generally, just a little pick, and that will come off. There we go. There we go. There we go. And you can just see the bolting thread in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to Sikaflex the mounting brackets onto there. So there's our mounting bracket. We're going to Sikaflex that onto there, and then the unistrut will sit on top. I need the pick. Oh dear. Up down this ladder more times than a fireman.
Several days later.
Right, so another day. Kelly's cleaning out the garage, which means one thing. The roof rack is on the roof. Now, we was going to film it yesterday. Unfortunately, when we got the unistruts and everything on the roof, it started hammering down, as usual. When you want to do something outside, British weather, it rains. So, I will show you what we've done. We managed to get it done, but obviously I didn't want to film in the rain. So I'll show you what we've actually done up here. I can get up without falling down. There we go. Right, there we go. So, it's all up. This is what we've done. We've got the two unistruts on, one either side. They're bolted in with 4 bolts all the way along into the factory mounting points. They are 8mm bolts. On top of those hard rubber mountings that we bought, they're in solid. They're not going anywhere. Next thing we did was put the roof rack on. We drilled through the horizontal runs of angle, put 8mm bolts through there into these little Zebedee bolts with the springs on that go into the unistrut. That again is bolted in 4 positions on either side along these horizontals. It's absolutely solid. It's not, there's nothing there, no movement at all, no flex or anything. Really happy with it. We've got some paint work flaking off the unistrut. That's because we forgot to prime it first. Anyway, there's a mistake we made. We'll get some hammerite paint on that later on, and that'll stick to it anyway. So we'll sort that later. Anyway, next jobs we've got to do up here is to get the solar entry glands fitted and sealed up, and then we can get the roof. The solar panels on. We had one hole on either side that didn't quite line up with the factory holes on the unistrut, so we did have to drill an extra hole. I have heard other people having to do that as well, so it's just one of those things. Not everything's going to line up. So anyway, that was one problem we overcame quite easily. So next job, solar entry glands.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Right, another day, another job on the roof. Everything's all fitted up here. We've got the unistruts on. We did have a couple of leaks. We've sorted those, waterproofed everything, tested it. So that's all done. I've put some of these strips along the top, just these covers, just to stop any extra water getting in. Also helped to lower the noise as that we were driving along. The solar rack is on and secure as well. Today's job is fitting the solar glands. Now these should be fitted with the curved end facing forward for two reasons. One, it's more aerodynamic, not that it matters on here because this is going underneath the solar panel, and also if you've got these facing backwards you can't get any water going in. Well, they do seal. Once you tighten these do seal around the cables, but it's just good practice to put them this way round. Anyway, what we've got to do, we've got a 25mm hole saw on here. I'm going to drill a hole in here. I can't use the factory holes because obvious reasons, they're underneath the unistrut and can't get to them, so we've got to drill some new holes. And I'm going to put it just here. It's about halfway along the max fan, about 8 inches out, so we'll do that both sides. Drill the two holes, one that side, one that side, because we're in two systems, one in parallel, series parallel, the other one in series. So we've got 4 cables coming through. So 25mm hole in here, and then we can just route the cable through. We'll put a grommet in there. We'll Sikaflex this to the roof. That should be that job done. So let's crack on. Red oxide, just to prime it, just to protect it. Don't need much. Incidentally, if anyone knows how to get this stuff off of a brush, put it in the comments below, because we've gone through a few brushes and white spirit doesn't do the job. Okay, I've just got to let that dry. And we put the grommet, that's what it is. We'll put the grommet in there. Right. Grommet, pop that in there just to protect the cable from the chafing on the metal. There we go. What we'll do now, I'll feed the cables down. Goes through there. There we go. As you tighten up the gland there, that will squash the rubber that's inside up against the cable and just waterproof it. I'll do the same with the negative cable. All we've got to do now is just seal this to the roof. Right, and there we go. So that's the first gland on. Cables are on. All I'm going to do is just cable tie these to the unistrut there. And they'll stay there and they'll connect up to the panels. So that's that one done. One more to do over there, and then we're ready for the panels. Right, so there we go. 2 solar glands, all on, sealed. Put some screws in there just to make sure they stay in place. Nicely sealed up. We've just zip tied the cables and the connectors to the unistrut there, and then when we put the panels in, they'll all the cables will run down here and join up. So that's that done. Next job, put the solar panels on. Hi guys, so just got upstairs and just going to show you the panels that we're going to be using on the roof. Now, this is a 100 watt solar panel from Renogy. It's a rigid type, aluminium frame, nice and durable, corrosion resistant. We've got nice laminated panel there, multi-layers of lamination to give it durability and protection. The panels themselves, silicon diodes. We've got a bypass diode, I believe, on these panels as well, which basically means if the any of the cells are underperforming, it will bypass those. So quite often, if you park in the shade, a cell will get covered in a shade, and then the whole thing underperforms. Well, this has got a bypass in there that helps with the efficiency when that happens. So I don't know much about it, but if you do, feel free to comment in the comments below. Tell me a little bit about it, because my knowledge is pretty limited. Anyway, on the back of this, we've got positive and negative connections, IP65 rated box with all the brains of it in there. We've got all the information there for different amperages, wattages, and weights and things. It's a 6.4 kilos apparently. So with 7 of those, the weight is going to add up. But that's the price you pay to have the power we need. We've got 600 amp hours of lithium going in, and we need all the charging that we can get for that. We've got things like an air fryer, we've got an induction hob, we've got heaters and things which are all going to need to use power, and with that power is going to have to be replaced. Now this can produce 30 to 40 amp hours a day. Optimum conditions, of course. With 7 of those, that's going to add up and give us a decent charge for those that lithium battery. Anyway, as I said, 7 of these going on, 700 watts of solar. We're going to be wiring them in series and series parallel, 2 different banks. So I'll explain more about that when we do it, but not today because that is a subject for another video. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up and smash the like button. We love what we do. I hope you do too. I hope you enjoy watching, and we appreciate all the support that you've been giving us. But until next time, bye for now.